Hello and welcome to Oddsock Comics. It's New Comic Book Day, January 16th, 2019. And I've got the books that I picked up at my local shop this week. I'm starting out here by showing my giveaway book. Now, I don't think I have any valid entries yet for the contest. And as soon as I get 10, I'm going to do the drawing. So this is a really a really high probability drawing, really easy to participate in. I haven't been very clear, but I also don't have a lot of people watching these videos. So if you are watching them and you're interested at all at receiving this Power Girl #1 for free, click a link in the description below to enter my contest. All you have to do is subscribe and leave a comment on the contest video. That's one valid entry. As soon as I get 10, I'm going to give this book away. It's an Adam Hughes cover. Pretty nice, doesn't fit in my collection, but I think that it might be nice for somebody else's collection, so I'm giving it away very happily. All right, so I want to start out with the books that I picked up at the LCS this week. So I'm going to start out with my favorite book this week, which is Conan the Barbarian #2. Now, this is a surprise to me. I'd never read Conan before this new series came out, and I'm not really that into that kind of, I don't know, medieval barbaric, I don't know exactly what to call it, but #1, it's written extremely well. It's very interesting. It's got this great mythos around it, and all of these interesting things going on. #2, Conan is a compelling character. This not fitting in is something I think that a lot of people relate to. And then #3 is the action is just fantastic. So reading through this, in this one he's killing snakes and battling the king snake and just all kinds of crazy fun stuff. That's just it's a little side story in his in whatever they're doing with his character over the next I think year. But it's a fantastic, entertaining read. The art is great. The story's fun. The characters are good. There's a lot of depth and development of Conan. Even though he's pretty simple, there's still this, there's a depth. His enemies become his friends. You watch him grow through work and fighting and all of that. So very cool. Definitely like this book. We'll continue to pick it up. Okay, next up I have The Batman Who Laughs #2. Now, I picked up the B cover on this, and I just think it's a fantastic cover. That is super creepy. That's one of those things that I'll pull out and I'll look at and I get the chills and then I'll put it away because it's not something that I want to show off. But I do think it's very cool. Very happy to have it. The story inside it's fine. I think that Snyder's a great writer. He writes some deep stuff. He's a little complicated. This is a Batman fighting Batman where Batman, always predicts everything and has everything hyper planned. And that's kind of predictable. And that's a part, I've said I've been reading Batman since I got into comics last year. I don't have this really big backlog. And I know that there's this concept that Batman can solve anything with enough time and enough gadgets or something like that. Like Batman always wins. And so this is kind of playing off of that. I never liked that aspect of Batman. I liked Batman as the gritty, down-to-earth, real human being that has to address things through real problem solving. So this is a little bit outside of my realm of what I like about Batman, but it's entertaining enough. It's fine. Okay, next up I have Venom #10. Now, this book, I don't know quite what I think. Obviously, it's a good story, and there's a lot of depth going on in the story that they're building. You find out a lot about Eddie Brock and his relationship with his dad, and it's got some good twists and turns and a little bit of action, even though the action is kind of strange, and it's very short-lived. This is much more of an explaining and exploratory book, so not quite the same. They did throw one thing out there that you kind of see in just the general consensus right now is that if you're a white man from a rich family, your life is going to be easy, even if you commit terrible crimes or whatever. And That may be reality. I don't know, but it obviously doesn't feel like reality to me. And I think that it does have more to do with being rich than white. But I don't even need to get into that. That's not something that I need to address, but I also don't think that that's something that it makes sense to address in this comic book, because Eddie Brock being white has nothing to do with his life. He is literally a miserable, homeless dude. Like, I don't think that that's really needs to be said about his character, that somehow he got off of things in the past at some point because he's white, but right now his life's miserable, so who cares? Anyway, that's getting into the politics of it, which comes up now and then. It was just a little blurb, but it caught me off guard and kind of gets me. You know, I've got PTSD of these politics thrown at you, so anytime anyone says something about race, I just cringe up, and it's not because I have any really strong feelings about it. It's just because I've heard it so many times, and it never comes from a place of real storytelling. It comes from a place of lecturing and things like that. So if you can get past that, it's a good storybook in the arc of Venom, of what's going on, a good character build. It's all right. Not my favorite of the week, but it's all right. I do like that cover, though. That's a fun one. Okay, next up, this is another book that it's not... I don't even think that my LCS is putting it on the shelves. When it came out last month, I had to go find it. Shoot, I don't even know how I got a hold of it. I had to go in and ask for it somewhere because they didn't have it on the shelves. It never hit the shelves. So this is a 6-issue miniseries. This is Electric Warriors, and this is issue 3. Now this story is way out there, but I kind of like it. It's definitely in the sci-fi realm of storytelling. It's happening, I don't know, 1,000 years in the future, 3,000 years in the future, something like that. But it is the future of the DC universe. So there's a little bit of the mythology of Superman that's still a part of this story. His cape is involved with this thing that they're doing. Now, I don't know where this is going to end or where it's going, but it's fun enough. And honestly, I'm enjoying it. It's interesting. So read it, enjoyed it. Not the best book out there. It's probably, I think it's going to get through the 6 issues, but it's not a high-selling book. I think that it's, if you're seeing it on the shelves, I don't know. That's not the case at the 3 comic shops that I am able to go to. Okay, last up, I've got White Widow. Now this one I didn't think I was going to be able to get a hold of, but I did something strange this week, or I guess something important. I signed up for my first pull list. I've never done that before. I liked bouncing around from shop to shop and seeing what I got. Kind of that hunt of showing up first thing in the morning and seeing what was available. That's fun to me. But it's cost me some books that I really wanted, and I had to go find them either online or something else. And so that was frustrating. And so I finally decided at my favorite shop, my preferred shop, I decided to put in for the pull list. I've spent some time talking with the manager there. Great guy. Love that local shop. They're all about helping you out. Sent him a couple of emails afterwards to try to see what we could get. But one of the books that I was able to get is White Widow. Now this is the red foil cover. I think it's the B cover. I don't know if there's anything special about it. This is actually the one that I have seen more copies of. The main cover, cover A, which I think I probably liked more. I haven't even seen that one in the wild. But I did get this one. Happy to have it. I think it's a good cover, and it's fun. That foil really stands out. I don't know if you can quite get the effect. I'm going to see if I can get that effect in there. So it's very nice, nicely reflective. Fun little book. It's just pure action, not a lot of story, not a lot of character development. It's just introducing the character and mostly introducing the superpowers and kind of driving the story that's going to go forward. Nothing too spectacular. As far as story goes, fun, but nothing new that you haven't seen before. And the art is all right. It's not quite as refined as you expect from the big publishers. So worth it, yeah. It's nice. For the cover alone, it's worth it. I will probably pick up issue 2, and if it progresses the story and feels good, I'll keep going with this one. And it kind of depends. This is one of those books that I was able to get for cover price. I don't know if there's demand for it like there was for Rags. I would probably sell this. It's not one that I feel like I need to own. I'm happy to have read it, and I'll send it off on its way for someone else to enjoy if the secondary market picks up. But I'm happy to have it if the price doesn't go up. It's one that I don't mind having in my collection. And that's a little bit of my philosophy on what I collect and why. So I only buy books if I'm okay having them in my collection, but then I try to kind of keep things trimmed. When I'm done with something, I'm like, yeah, that one I don't really need to keep. Then I'll either give them away or sell them or whatever I can do. Okay, I did do 2 cover buys, and I'll put them both out here right now. The first one is the obvious Artgerm Supergirl number 26. I've got the full Artgerm run from, 12 to 20, I think. But then there was a break. I think he did the foil, and then he did 26, and I think this is the last of them. Never cared to read the inside of the stories. This is a pure cover buy. I'm going to buy everything that Artgerm did. But the other one I got, and this one quite a bit different. So this is Catwoman number 7, and this is the B cover. Who is it? Is it... I don't want to mistake who the artist is. I do like the style. I do like all of these little connections to Batman that keep popping up in the covers. I think that's interesting. I like the cover. I'll slide that in with the Joshua Middleton Batgirl, and I'll slide that in with the Tedesco Harley Quinn that I got, and that's kind of the white cover girls of DC that are done really well, really classy. That's a classy cover. I like that one. So I'm happy with those purchases. That's everything new that I got this week. But I have one more thing that I bought earlier this week. And this is probably, honestly, I said that my pick of the week was Conan, but this is really my pick of the week. So I went in on Monday to set up my poll list because obviously it's a little less busy on Monday. But one of the reasons I went in is I wanted to pick up Murder Falcon. And I'd seen a couple of back issues, but I didn't know what I'd be able to find. I ended up getting Murder Falcon 1 through 4. And I'm actually going to go back. I've got the heavy metal variant for number 1 and 4, but they didn't have it for number 2 and 3. And so I'm on the hunt to go see if I can find the heavy metal variant because I love those covers, the homages to some classic metal CDs or discs, albums, there we go. Don't even know what they're called anymore. But so I read this story. I had heard somebody talking about it in the comic shop a couple weeks ago, and it sounded interesting. And then I saw the metal covers, actually this number 4, the vulgar display of metal. I found that one hilarious. That's an homage to, I think, Pantera. And I just thought that was awesome. I'm not a huge metal fan, but I still, just reading these books, I just loved the story from start to finish. I mean, there's tons of action in this story. There's tons of character development. There's tons of relationship development. There's a little bit of the sequence is very obvious. It's a lot like, a Power Rangers episode where each issue they face a new monster, and the monster's tough until they get their special power that comes and they can beat the monster. Then in the second one, it's too tough for the power from the first one, so they get this something special new and bring that in and beat the monster. And then the third one, it's a more powerful monster. So it's very much like this, I don't know, it reminds me of Power Rangers. It's very episodic and progressive in the way that you would expect a story to draw out, which the story part is not deep. But in the background of all of that, first of all, you have the crazy humor of the heavy metal, and that part alone is just worth it, just kind of overlaying everything. If you took just the action sequences, just the heavy metal references, it's a fun book. But there really is something a lot deeper about it as well. Jake the main character is facing some real problems. He's fixing his friendships as he goes along. There are characters in here facing poverty and illness and aging and all kinds of things. And that all happens in such little bursts, but the story is progressing and it's action-packed, and this is just something that is beautifully done. Honestly, I'm just totally impressed by what they've done with this. Anyway, this is I'm very happy going forward with this one. I did add number 5, which I don't know if that's the last story or not. I believe it is, but I think issue 5 is the last. But this is definitely a set worth getting. I'm going to keep this one. I'm going to see if I can get the other 2 heavy metals, and then these might be a set that I put on my wall, because this story really is that good. I'll reference it again later. But anyway, that's it. That's everything that I picked up this week. It was a good mix, and I definitely am happy with what I got. As I take these off, I'm going to leave just my one book up here again to remind you, if you haven't entered the contest and you are interested in getting this book for free, and I mean completely free, I'm going to package it up and ship it. I've got Gemini mailers ready to go. So as soon as I'm able to run the contest, I get 10 entries. I'm going to do the drawing. I'm going to give this away because I want to give away comic books. I have too many of them. I have some that don't fit my collection, so I want to give them away. I want to hear back from you guys. Comment, let me know what's going on, what you see that's interesting. If you have any thoughts about what I should be looking out for, if I like Murder Falcon, would love to hear it. It's a great community, the comic book community. I'm new to it, but definitely enjoying it. So let me give a little something back with this giveaway, and if you can give me something in return with a comment, that's fantastic. Appreciate it. Thanks, and see you next week.